Hey, how we doing, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I hope my great smelling people are doing well. So, spring. It's here. It was just around the corner, but now it's here. I'm so pleased, man. I hate those long dark nights and those short days. I don't like the darkness. I don't like the cold. I don't like the bad weather. Yeah, I'm not a winter person at all. Sunny day today, spirits are lifted. I'm looking forward to this warm weather. Got a little bit of warm weather today. Actually, it's pretty nice out there. I should be out, but I'm not. Stuck in here, giving reviews to you guys. So anyway, you'll see in the thumbnail, I might have decided to call this like a top 10. And I said I would never do them, but it gets views and therefore brings people to my channel, and then they get to experience my opinions, and it just helps everything really. So it might be called top 10, but it's not. It's 12. Yes, I am a maniacal asshole. So if you want to know what my 12 recommendations, and bear in mind, guys, this is not a top 12, right? These are 12 recommendations. I've tried to not be very predictable and put like I don't even have a top 12. My taste and preferences change all the time. So these are just things that are some stalwarts, you know what I mean? Some staples, and also some things that you might not usually expect to see, but they're all spring appropriate. So if you're interested in what my 12 recommendations for spring are, then stick around. So I couldn't not include this. It's probably expected, and I don't like to disappoint, but I can't do a spring list, especially if I'm including niche fragrances. I can't do a spring list and not include Greenley from Parfums de Marly. Every time I have this in my hand, I've got to spray it. Ah, it's good. So good, man. I think this has got better with time as well. Oh, Jesus. This is for later. I'm giving myself a present for later.
A gift from God.
Absolutely love this. My favourite PDM freshie. And what you've got with this is green apple along with bergamot and mandarin. And then some aromatics. You've got like cashmere, and there's an aroma chemical called pomerose in there. I think it helps with the apple. And then you've got like musks and woods. It's just so good, man. So good. It's a crisp yet juicy, bright opening that and the opening lasts a while, leans into it. I mean, the cashmere, it just makes the woods more soft, and man, there's oak moss and petitgrain in here too. It's a very green fragrance, you know what I mean? Hence Greenley. But man, so good, so good. If you're wanting to spend a little bit of money and you're wanting something for spring, honestly, I can't not recommend this for you. So I guess it was expected, but I can't not include it. My favourite spring fragrance, Greenley from Parfums de Marly. Now then, the first designer fragrance I've got to recommend to you. It's only designer by name, by classification. It's got all the behaviours and characteristics of a niche perfume. Oh, wow. This is Terre's Pure Parfum. if you're at all familiar with the Terre d'Hermes line, especially the first few, it's known for having a dirty orange smell, and it's a perfect descriptor for how it comes across. But, oh man. This is incredible stuff, man. Incredible stuff. Like, there's flint. Flint in this. I'm sure there's vetiver as well, because it's known for having vetiver in it. Possibly oak moss too. I think there's grapefruit in there as well as orange. So you've got like grapefruit, orange, flint, and then like oak moss and vetiver. I think that's how it breaks down. But wow. What I tend to imagine when I'm recommending something for spring is something that needs to have, it needs to be multifaceted, but also multi-seasonally appropriate too. It needs to be something that can be worn in both winter and summer. That's how I imagine it in my head. Now, a lot of these spring fragrances won't exactly be the best choice for the high heat of summer, and that's why you won't see things like Xerjoff Renaissance in here, and you know, Oolong Cha from Nishane. I could easily include them. They are ideal for a warm spring day, but spring brings cold too, and it's a very bipolar season. You don't know what you're going to get from day to day.
Bipolar all over your you know what.
So those really bright fresh fragrances, they don't exactly belong in an arsenal that's trying to cater for both cold and warm weather, and that's why you're not going to see them listed here as much as I think of spring when I reach for things like Oolong Cha. I'm reserving that and fragrances like it for my summer list. But just like with Greenley there, this can handle both types of weather. It's bright with the grapefruit and the orange. Honestly, I'm salivating.
We'll have them drooling.
But yet, the earthiness of it, it's enough depth and robust character to be able to carry you through a cooler day. So it was the first fragrance I thought of when I was compiling this spring list, which took me ages because I was constantly putting stuff in and taking stuff out. But yeah, designer, spring, for me, Terre d'Hermes Pure Parfum. Now then, the second niche recommendation for spring is Thameen Insignia. This is beautiful, guys. Honestly, so good. so good. Just like with what you're going to see in all of these, it's got notes that offer strength and notes that offer brightness. The bright notes in here are fig, citruses, and geranium, and then you've got things like leather and whiskey, and I think vetiver as well. There's rose in here too. It's bright, sweet, floral, leathery. If it was insanely hot, honestly, if it was insanely hot despite these deeper, darker notes, it might still do well, because most of what I get is the freshness. And you know, the rose and the geranium being like bright florals, it's just, yeah, maybe I'm being a bit naive there. It might not be.
You have no idea.
I haven't worn it in the highest of heat, but for spring, absolutely ideal. Great performance. Most things from Thameen are, apart from carved oud. It's better than oud wood, but it's still not great. This though, absolutely fantastic. aromatic, fougere style fragrance with extra facets that make it something a bit different. Really, really nice. Not for the younger crowd.
That's for big boys.
Definitely more mature, man. So suits an old fat like me down to the ground. Yeah. Really, really good, guys. If you haven't tried it, I recommend definitely giving Insignia from Thameen a try. Now, my second designer offering is from the house of Lalique, and it is Encre Noire Sport. Like, how is this so cheap? How is everything from this line so cheap? In fact, everything from Lalique. Such an awesome bang for buck fragrance house. Now, when they first come out, things like this from Lalique, they are a typical designer price, but it doesn't take long for their prices to drop like a stone.
Maybe drop the price to 15.
Awesome, man. Absolutely awesome. This, if you haven't tried anything from the Encre Noire line, this is, it's vetiver. It's a multifaceted vetiver, but not as dark and dank and moody and grumpy as Encre Noire.
Well, I'm dark and brooding too.
So what makes this different? What makes this a sport fragrance in comparison to the original Encre Noire? It's the additions of some citruses in the top and some watery notes in the mid. You've got bergamot and grapefruit in the top along with nutmeg. And then you've got two types of vetiver in the base. It's a really interesting fragrance. It does smell sort of blue, you know, with the watery notes and the citruses. I like fresh, spicy. But underneath all that, you've got that soapy vetiver. Slightly earthy, slightly. But it's such an interesting fragrance. Yeah, I like it a lot. And you'll see, like with a lot of reviewers, you'll see dents that size and you'll think you can't like it that much. But when you've got enough fragrances for a different one for every day of the year, and then some, like that, that's a pretty sizable dent. You know, that means I've wore that about 10 times, 15 times or something. So yeah. It means I like it. Like I say, you know, typical of what I've already been speaking about, the vetiver, you know, the nutmeg as well. It's enough to make it more than a fresh fragrance, and it's enough to make it suitable for a cooler day. And the performance is pretty good, you know, it is. And you'll find out with most of these, because they're not just freshies. They've got something that's giving them character, added depth, makes them robust. And this is no different. So my second designer recommendation for a spring lineup is Encre Noire Sport. Now my third niche recommendation from the house of Sospiro. No, it's not what you think it's gonna be. It's Basso. It's quite a bit like that, if I'm honest. But there's more. There's more going on in here. Oh, it's so good, this mind. Oh, it's so good. Strong as well. Lasts a long time.
Strong. Real strong.
Fresh. Sweet, but tart. Aromatic. Woodsy. It's got everything. It smells like a guy in his 40s who's got his shit together.
So not me then.
In the spring. Now the reason I didn't put vibrato in here is just because it's expected. I almost put contralto in here actually, but I decided to go with Basso. I don't wear this often enough. I might make it my scent of the day out of the shower because I love it. I absolutely love it. Now there's a huge note breakdown, so I can't remember everything off the top of my head, so I'm actually going to read it to you. Just 1 second. Grapefruit up in the top, carnation, mayflower and labdanum in the mid. It's base heavy with vetiver, cedar, black pepper, oak moss, sandalwood, gaiac wood, nutmeg, pink pepper and galbanum, along with celery seeds. Yeah, that many notes. It's a concerto. And I guess notes, you know, the thing with Sospiro is all of the titles to the perfumes allude to a type of voice. So vibrato, I think it's a movement within the throat while singing, you know what I mean? Like falsetto, vibrato, basso is bass. And I think every single one has got something that alludes to a operatic descriptor. Do you know what I mean? So notes. But yeah, it is a niche terre d'homme, as many say, and I can't argue with that. But just like with a lot of these, you know, people dog things. People dog niche these days because they say they're not very inventive and they're taking inspiration from the designer world. And I can totally sympathize with that gripe. I can. It's exactly the type of thing that would irritate me too if it wasn't for how good the end result is. And let's face it, niche perfumery isn't what it once was. Not just in terms of the releases and what's been churned out, but the market isn't the same. Not too long ago, niche perfumery was exclusively for fragheads, for fragrance enthusiasts, but not anymore. Your everyday Joe that knows absolutely nothing about perfumery and isn't even interested in any of the art at all is walking into department stores and buying Parfums de Marly. They're buying Xerjoff. You know, they're buying these brands that are catering to somebody with a designer mass appeal taste. So who can blame them? But, and it's a big old but.
You got a big old butt.
Sometimes, just like this, the end result is absolutely impeccable. And I would say that this isn't the most mass appealing. Vibrato probably is. It's that Tiger DNA, but just done way better. And anybody that says Tiger is better than Vibrato, I'll meet you outside.
You and me outside right now.
You better make the first punch count. Absolutely excellent. So I've waffled on a bit here while holding this bottle, but yeah. This is excellent for spring, and a formal spring too. I would say that things like Greenley and something else that I'm going to mention in terms of niche will be better suited for your casual days. But if you're going to like a warm weather wedding, awesome. Same will be said for that too. Yeah, I'm just going to put this down and shut up. But yeah, Basso, absolutely excellent. Now my third designer recommendation is a very recent acquisition. So recent, in fact, that I don't even think that I've owned it for 2 weeks. I don't even think I've owned it for a week. But it's a good one, and it's a bit of an unsung hero. In my hand right now, I have Guerlain Homme. Why don't more people talk about this? Oh, wow. Everyone's about the L'Homme Ideal line, and rightfully so, apart from recent reformulations of some absolute bangers. That's why I've got the older style bottles. But this has stayed excellent. What an interesting fragrance. So nice. This would be okay in summer as well. And to be honest, it might not have quite enough depth for a really cold spring day. But who cares? I had to include it because it's a recent acquisition. And I've been a bit in love with it, especially when the sun's out. This is fantastic. It's timeless. Absolutely timeless. I haven't looked up like when the first formulation of this was, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was 1929. Don't even know if Guerlain were on the go then, but I wouldn't be surprised. And it will still smell good in 2029. Mint. Oh, it's minty. Mint, lime, rum. And you've got like florals. With vetiver, cedar and patchouli in the base. Wow, man. I'm going to give myself another treat.
Jesus Christ himself has blessed me with many gifts.
Oh, monsieur, with the Guerlain, you're really spoiling yourself. For those of you who aren't old farts, that's an allude to an old Ferrero Rocher advert.
Monsieur, with this Rocher, you're really spoiling us.
Should have waited. It's quite sharp there. Yeah, it's already not. Wow. I wore this the day that I got it. And the missus, who is so used to smelling new things on me all of the time, it's not even, it doesn't even raise an eyebrow anymore. And she thinks she's smelling things for the first time that I might have even had for years, and I've only worn them twice. So she's smelling, into her nose, she's smelling new things all the time. Sprayed this the day I got it. She'd been out shopping or something, came home, walked into the living room. I walked past her and she went, "Oh, what's that you've got on?" I said, "It's Guerlain Homme." She went, "That's absolutely beautiful," and then proceeded to ask me about it. So it just goes to show, you know, it is a bit of a head turner. I definitely don't think any of you young bucks out there, like under the age of 21, or maybe even possibly under the age of 25, are going to vibe with this. But this, it might be a little bit too upscale for the most casual of dress. But like shorts and a polo shirt, yeah, you know, no bother. And, you know, you could dress this up, absolutely. Guerlain is so underrated, like not by those of us who know, but you know, there's even a debate as to whether it is a designer house. It is a designer house, by the way. It's not niche, but only by descriptor, only by the technicality. Like, this is like niche perfumery. Very, very well done, very well executed French perfumery. Absolutely awesome. Guerlain Homme. My fourth niche recommendation from the house of Nishane Sultan Vetiver. Oh, wow. And you're thinking, a lot of vetiver, you know? You know, a lot of vetiver. Yeah, there is. It's not even one of my favorite notes. It's just a happy coincidence that these really versatile, warmer weather / colder appropriate things have vetiver in them. It's just a happy coincidence. This ain't gonna be for everyone. It ain't. Out of everything I've spoken about so far, this is the thing that I would definitely advise you sampling. But I'll tell you what, it's for me. This is absolute classic masculinity. This is not for anyone who, you know, dares to tread outside of generic blue, sweet, fruity, fresh, you know, the typical quadrangles of the fragrance family for men type of thing. This has got a hair on its chest. And Vetiver, let me tell you, I'm going to read these notes out. So in the top, we've got Java Vetiver oil, along with anise, bergamot and pepper. And then in the mid, we've got bourbon vetiver and Haitian vetiver, along with neroli and tonka bean. And then in the base, we've got vetiver, leather and amber. So that's 4 types of vetiver. And it's multifaceted. Vetiver can come across soapy, it can come across grassy, it can come across earthy and woody and dirty. And this is every single one of them. How something can smell dirty and clean at the same time. It's like, I'm surprised there isn't any musk in this. I mean, there might be and it's just not listed. Because unless it's the leather, but there's an animalic nature about this. This is a rugged man's fragrance. It's superior in terms of quality. There's nothing cheap about it whatsoever. It is old school masculinity in a bottle, but very suitable for spring. Unless it's red hot. And even then, it wouldn't really be that out of place. But when you smell like this, nobody would dare tell you. They'd expect an old school left hook. Yeah. I can't say anything more than what I haven't already said, other than definitely test it, which I've already said. But once you've smelt this, you'll understand what I'm on about when I say old school masculinity. I imagine David Hasselhoff when he was in Knight Rider, like smelling of something like this. Do you know what I mean?
What's that smell?
Or even the Magnum PI.
Magnum, no, come Magnum!
You know, that sort of era. But yeah. In terms of versatility, seasonal versatility, this does it best with hair on its chest. Our 4th designer recommendation for the springtime from the house of Loewe, we have Loewe 7 Cobalt. Wow. Wow. Oh. It's a rogue squirt. This is the most unique blue fragrance that I've got in my collection. There's blackcurrant in here and some aromatics. And it's got that typical shower gel, but old school shower gel smell. You know what I mean? It comes from sage, I think. But it's a green blue, if that makes sense. Hence Cobalt, which is like a greeny blue anyway. It's got like, I would have said rosemary, but I guess it's the sage. That's how it smells. A herbaceous blue fragrance, shower gel blue, but it doesn't smell like a generic designer. It's got a lot of interest with it. It's totally different from every other blue fragrance. It smells like, I used to have this hand soap. It was like a really expensive like blue gel pump bottle hand soap. And every time I used to use it, I used to think, oh man, I wish there was a fragrance that smelled like that. And then, you know, long since having that hand soap, I came by this, and as soon as I smelled it, I was like, that smells like that hand soap that I always used to wish there was a fragrance that smelled of it. And now I've got one. Yeah, it's really, really nice. I think the herbaceousness, it offers enough difference in terms of, you know, what is expected from a blue fragrance. It means that, you know, you're not going to smell like everybody else who's wearing Sauvage, Dylan Blue and Y and even Bleu de Chanel, you know, probably the king of the blue fragrances. This smells different.
Unique.
And different enough to make it relevant. You know what I mean? Not enough people speak about this. I think it's fantastic. Performance is good. You know, it's not groundbreaking, beast mode or anything like that, but it's more than acceptable. And like I say, unique. You know, something a bit different. Would definitely recommend it for spring. It would be all right for summer as well, you know. Definitely don't think it would be too much for summer. I think actually this could be a signature scent, if I'm honest. Yeah, that's how versatile it is, and I like it a lot. Loewe 7 Cobalt. Now then, my penultimate niche recommendation for spring wouldn't be a list without this. I'd put it on every list if I could. From Essential Parfums, perfumed by Quentin Bish, we have Bois Impérial. At this point in time, this has become a bit of a community darling. You're not going to know about this unless you're into fragrances. I don't think so anyway. Oh my god. That smell. Along with the extra version of this, which I also have, and Ganymede, which I also have. Along with those three, other than things from Marc-Antoine Barrault that have facets of the, you know, and I think they're all perfumed by Quentin Bish actually. Hello. Along with those, aside from those, actually, I don't know anything that has the same sort of character and composition as this. You've got basil and patchouli that bring the green, you know what I mean? And then you've got Akigala wood and woodsy notes. There's ambroxan in here, Timu pepper, and it all comes together to create this aromatic. And I, to this day, can't believe there isn't salt in this. I know pepper, you know, I know what pepper smells like, but there's like, it always reminded me of a clean sea breeze. Like what I imagine when I smell this is sitting near the beach, under a tree, straw hat, white polo or white cotton shirt, and a warm sea breeze coming over the wood of the tree, the warm salty air, the clean cotton. This is the image in my head that this invokes. But oh my god, it smells good and so interesting. This probably is my fiance's favorite fragrance on me. Either that or the extra. When I wear this, she follows me around like a lost puppy.
Why are you following me?
Honestly. And she wants to be closer to us. She loves it. It's not for everyone. It is quite polarizing. Some people can't stand it, and some people don't understand it.
Do I smell weird to you?
But for me, this is impeccable. The freshness. It's not devoid of sweetness, but it's barely there. Just the overall smell. When something's blended like this, even if you can pick out individual notes, it's like your brain refuses to. This is Bois Impérial. It's the sum of its parts, is what I'm trying to say. It doesn't come across like a melody of smells. It just comes across as Bois Impérial to me. This is Bois Impérial. Absolutely fantastic. One of my favorite fragrances. It's a fragrance for life. If I heard that they were completely discontinuing this, I would break my neck to get 2 backup bottles. I can't imagine ever being without it. That's a massive dent for me. That, like, I did get this as a full bottle, and not that long ago. Awesome stuff from Essential Parfums Bois Impérial. Now then, my penultimate offering, or recommendation rather, in the designer lineup is Dior Homme Sport. Now, you could have put Dior Homme 2020 here. I always forget how good this is. Always. I prefer this to Dior Homme 2020. And I like that too. I just think this is, it's just Dior Homme 2020, but +1. Like, it's got extra, you know. Ideal for spring. Dior Homme Cologne would be ideal for really hot weather, but this, there's got enough about it, enough interest, enough, you know, adding nuances and robust character to make it suitable for when the weather isn't as warm. Honestly, this stuff's excellent. So much better than Dior Homme 2020. Well, just better than Dior Homme 2020. Lemon and bergamot, along with aldehydes in the top, you know, aldehydic sort of ozonic, like fresh air sort of molecule. And then you've got elemi resin and pink pepper, and there's benzoin, I think maybe even amber, along with like woodsy notes in the base. Really, really nice, honestly. Bright and citric, a little bit sweet, fresh but woody and resinous. And it all comes together to create something that is perfectly at home in warm or slightly cooler weather. And it's a Dior Homme. Of course it's going to be good, isn't it?
Always so good.
Apart from he who shall not be named. Even that's alright. I was just mad at it. So yeah, penultimate designer, Dior Homme Sport 2021. Now then, my final niche, Acqua di Parma, Colonia, Essenza. This isn't for everyone. I had quite a few Acqua di Parmas, and I ended up moving them on. I've kept three actually. I've kept 3. I moved on about 4 or 5, and I just wasn't using them. And as much as I appreciated them for what they are, beautifully crafted niche perfumery with a high use of naturals in an old, like, well, a traditional style Italian barbershop perfumery, you know what I mean? I've kept this one because it's like the original Colonia, but made a little bit more modern, and it's got a bit more staying power. And that's one of the major gripes with Acqua di Parma. People say, oh, great smells, but they don't last. Well, they're not gonna last because they've got a high amount of naturals, and that's just, you know, tough shit. If something's got a high amount of naturals in it, unless it's dosed with a clever aroma chemical to, you know, aid all of those naturals in, you know, a bit of added performance, then even then it's still only going to be average. All of them were good in their own ways, but I kept this, Fico di Amalfi, and Colonia Oud. Colonia Oud would be at home here too, and actually might even prefer Colonia Oud to this, but I just think that this is a bit more aromatic and a bit more suitable for when it starts to get a bit warmer. Now, I could try and remember 4 or 5 of the notes in this, but there's so many of them. So I'll just read them out to you. The main players that you're going to smell are going to be traditional, like fougere sort of notes, like neroli, petitgrain, the citruses, the musk, patchouli, sage, and lily of the valley. But all of the notes are neroli, bergamot, grapefruit, jasmine, petitgrain, orange, mandarin orange, musk, vetiver, rosemary, oak moss, rose, lily of the valley, cloves, sage, patchouli and amber. Thrown into a pot. And out came this. It isn't for everyone. Definitely younger guys aren't going to vibe with this.
I don't think this is suitable for children.
Unless you've got a more mature character and you've got like an old head on young shoulders, or you just want to be a bit different and you like to be a bit quirky and, you know, dress, act and smell outside of your own age demographic. There's people out there now like that, and I'm all here for stuff like that, being a bit original. But even though I've kept this, the situations in which I think it's ideal for are really quite limited. But I'm a weirdo and sometimes I come up here and just start smelling stuff, you know, even though I'm not spraying it on or going out of the house with it on. But yeah, fantastic. If you're a slightly more seasoned gentleman and, you know, you're the type of guy that likes to smell like when you're in your prime, then give this a check out. I really like it, and I feel like it needed to be, or at least something from Acqua de Parma needed to be in this spring recommendations, because they won't often make my lists. And not that I don't love them, but it's just difficult to choose them ahead of certain things. But I think springtime's an ideal time for almost every Acqua de Parma. So I thought I'd include Essenza. Now then, my final designer recommendation. If I'm going to be doing a list, top 10s or whatever, then I'm going to try and find a way to shoehorn in an Irish fragrance. So here we have one. The original Prada L'Homme. Oh, what? You can still get this, but I have a feeling it might go the long journey. What with the Luna Rossa line being, you know, popular now, and we haven't had anything new from this line in, it'll be coming up to a decade, I would say. But this is cleanliness, soapy, powdery cleanliness at its absolute best. And that's what Prada does best until recently. Even though like things were like Prada Black and that, they've still got that, like, and even, you know, the original Luna Rossa and even maybe Carbon as well. You know, they take certain DNAs and they put a bit of a Prada twist on it, make it a bit more cleaner, a bit soapier. But this is excellent. I have to admit that it is really good for spring, because even though it's got that soapy, clean, like nature that I've just spoke about, with the iris, it's a powdery, clean iris. But like, the cedar, the amber, and the patchouli, and there's pepper and stuff in there. Spicy, fresh. So I don't really get much of the cardamom, to be honest, but it's all about fresh with this, really. But the musk and the woods, I guess, give it enough depth, and even though it's not a powerhouse fragrance, I would still say that there is enough about it that it wouldn't be out of place in a cooler spring day. And in fact, just the overall composition and the nature of this, it would actually be a really good fragrance to wear on a grey day, because it's comforting. It is a comforting smell. It's like,
yeah, it's comfortable. It smells really good.
Like, it's just the cleanliness of it. It smells grey. Yeah, absolutely class. And it wouldn't be one of my lists without an Irish fragrance in it. So that's the one I chose to add. What a long video. It's took up some time, this. Oof. Even when I've edited this, it's going to be a long one, but I have went over 12 fragrances, so I'll chop it down as much as I can. Thanks very much for sticking with me to the end if you're still here. and I hope you've enjoyed my not so dirty dozen. So thanks very much, guys. Thanks for tuning in once again. Thanks for the continued support, and hit the like button down below if you've enjoyed this video. Helps the YouTube algorithm work out what's good shit, what's bad shit, you know. And also make sure you subscribe, and if you have already subscribed, hit the bell notification icon down there so that you can be notified next time I upload some scenty nonsense. So until next time, guys, take care, keep smelling good, and stay safe.